Welcome to Nope-ology, where saying no is our favorite superpower. Join us as we dive into the art of ditching the distractions, embracing your true self with no apologies needed. Whether it's relationships, responsibilities, or just that energy-sucking friend, we've got tips and laughs to help you reclaim your time and sparkle. Dust off that crown, girl. So, grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's get unapologetically you. Welcome to this week's episode of Nope-ology. This is, yes, whoop it up. This is episode 8, and we're continuing. Last week we kind of introed it, and this week we're going into how to set boundaries with family members.
Yes.
Pretty much the toxic ones, that's obvious, but in general, family members. And what do I have here? If you are seeing us on YouTube, I have a little product here. For all you people who can't see, I will describe said product. We just thought it'd be fun maybe to do share some self-care products that we love with you guys, and then you on our Facebook page or email can share products you love. So, but before this, my grays are coming in a little bit. Okay, Roro? They're coming in a little bit up there.
Yeah, I
And
don't have those, so I don't know what that's like.
No, she'll never have them. She will never, ever have a gray in her life. So I woke up this morning and I saw grays. No, there was like some stragglers over there. I'm in between highlights, color, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Awkward,
expensive.
awkward face.
Yeah,
Yes.
can we
Oh
talk
my
about that
God.
real quick? Like, why is it
It's like
so expensive?
$5,000 every time you want to
It's
go.
everything you do. It's like, I get it. Look, I'm not knocking because look, I am so grateful for my hair lady. She is fabulous. I love her. It's worth it, but it's burning holes in my pants, in my granite pants.
My wallet is crying.
Yeah,
Personally, I would love there to come a day when I can just sport the gray.
yeah.
Oh, holy
A,
crap. Like
a lot of
I am
people
an
are
art.
doing it, especially pandemic. It got trendy, right?
Some people can really pull it off, and I want to be those people one day. So,
Yeah, I don't
but
think I'm gonna be that person.
in the meantime, I cringe when I see it come through.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So that's not gonna be anytime soon for me. I think especially because like I already look dead if I go too blonde and my grays are white. It's not like the cute darker grays. Like I see the salt and peppery gray, I'm like, oh, that's fun. And then mine is like, you're straight white and you're gonna look like a corpse. And I'm not ready for that yet. So until I am, I got this for in between. You can put this on your roots and it even works like I have highlights, but it looks like I kind of blend it in. It's called Savage,
Oh, Savage. Okay.
Sevich hair shadow powder. And for those of you viewing, I will show you if you're on audio. Imagine I am holding up a disc-shaped container and the top of it, you open up and I think it has a little mirror. It says peel off because I did not peel off. I don't listen to directions. But there's a mirror and then there's this powder. And then on the bottom, you open it and there is a little sponge. And you open the top, you dip the sponge in the powder and you just press it on your hair and it covers the gray. It's amazing. And
Magical.
if you're thinning hair, look, I did a little in the front. It almost looks like maybe I just got my hair dyed. I did a little too much. But if you do it, like it'll
A
fill
little
in
dabble do
too.
ya.
So, oh, well,
Yeah.
okay, now I need to put this down because I'm making myself look crazy. But you get the idea. So I thought that was really freaking awesome. So I wanted to share
Love
it.
how quick that is. Yeah, that's quick and easy.
Yes,
That's
loving it.
that's a good one.
So mine's in light brown. And they have like blonde. I think they have a lighter blonde, darker blonde, light brown, dark brown, and they do, I believe, have like well, black and like a auburnish red or something. So
Yes.
I'm sure it's not perfect, but hey, it was better than what was happening before I put it on.
No, I like it. I like it a lot. That's so quick and so fast and
So
just,
quick.
yeah, you don't even have to think about it. So
Yeah.
it's when you're in
So
a pinch, and then you don't have to walk around looking crazy.
yeah, so now I can look like halfway decent talking about family woes. So let's dive in. So setting boundaries, we did the little intro last week, and this week we're just gonna we're going to touch on a couple because these can be thick things to deal with. So it's a series. If you don't know, it's a continued series. So make sure you listen to the intro. You can listen to it after, it doesn't matter, but make sure to listen to that. And then obviously follow our podcast so you continue the series. So we're just setting boundaries with family. And Rania, I know you've had to do this. Me and Rania, we go way back. We talk about family stuff a lot. What's one of your favorite, I guess, ways to set boundaries? Not that it's fun, but something that has you've had success with.
It's been so helpful, and I'm a newcomer to all of this. More
Yeah.
so, I feel like Christy, for a while now, she's more on the advanced side, and the fact that, years ago, she really started taking a hard look at like what are some ways that I can really put some of these boundaries into place. I think that one big one for me most recently that I have discovered is like when you're feeling all of this tension, when you're feeling the push and the pull. Let's say we have a family member who is, pressuring you to do something
Mm.
specific that you don't feel comfortable doing, right? And you just feel it all backing up on you, especially as and I'm talking, I think, mostly to the recovering people pleasers, because this is a good hack. This is a
Or
really good
current
hack.
current people, please.
Or current, right? Because
Yep.
what happens to someone who wants to please everybody and really abandon yourself? That's such a pitfall. You feel so much pressure in that moment to say yes,
Yeah.
and you're so worried about what's going to happen to you if you don't. So how do you diffuse that drama? How do you like deactivate the pressure? And I look at it similar to how you would dealing with a child, right? Because if you're dealing with someone toxic, you're not dealing with an emotionally healthy person, right?
Amen.
um, so, so you got to use a little bit of a different approach. And actually, Christy and I both, fun fact, we have a little bit of a background in early childhood education. So we kind of
We
learned
we know about the children.
back in the day, you got to get down to eye level. And you gotta, like with a 2-year-old, what do you do when they are in the store screaming bloody murder because they want the candy, they want the cookie, and they're making a scene? And it's like you're feeling all this pressure as a parent, like, oh my God, they're gonna think I'm a child abuser, whatever. And
Right.
it's just all backing up on you. You feel like you're gonna snap if you don't say yes, and you feel like saying yes is the quickest way to shut them up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do? Offer some options. Offer some
Mm.
options. Now, zoom out for a
Yes, because
minute
you know
because you
what?
can't. Yes,
Yeah,
go ahead.
just because the just like kids are trying to test boundaries to gain control, toxic people, part of their problem is they just want control. So when they feel like they have options, there you go. They get a
Ah,
little control.
then they're in the driver's seat. Excellent, excellent point, Christy. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, if control is what the driver is for that person, this is like the perfect solution. But before you start to offer options, you got to zoom out before you're having this interaction. Ideally, you're sitting with yourself. Like I had a recent example. I love these recent examples. I can always just pull out of my back pocket. But
Yeah.
I knew it was coming. And in a lot of cases, you guys know what I'm talking about. When you know someone's going to hit you up for something, you
Yep.
know it's about to come.
Yes,
And,
totally.
and of course, there are those cases that will throw you off guard. But if you can gather yourself for just a minute and sort of strategize, and figure out, okay, what's acceptable, what's doable, what isn't doable, what are my negotiables, what are my non-negotiables, where do I stand, how does this all make me feel? Like, check in with yourself first and do a quick self-assessment of what your nopes are going to be and where you feel like you can bend a little bit, where you can compromise. Figure out what that looks like and offer those. And here's what it looked like in my recent situation. My example, it was all via text, and it was like, hey, can you blah blah blah, blah, like, and obviously it was a big hell no, hell no. There was very little reserve in what I was willing to do, and my response, good old sandwiches. Don't you love a
Oh,
good
she fluffed
sandwich?
it up. If you don't know about Roro, listen to our other episodes. We'll talk all about the
I,
sandwich life.
I feel like people need, and we were going to do a whole thing on this, but I do feel like people need to at least feel like they're being heard instead of just immediately dismissed. So even though when
Yeah.
I read this message, it was a big fat hell no, I had to dig a little bit deeper, go a little bit further to meet the person where they are. So my first response was like, oh, I hear that completely. And maybe even an extra sentence to help them know that they're being heard. You can go there for just a second with that person and be like, oof, yeah, I get it. That's a pickle. Whatever you want to say.
I
Like, I feel your pain. Okay. Whatever the case may be, just let them know that you hear them. Then explain, and it's, let's not make it, don't posture yourself where you're owing an explanation. This is more of a
I
declaration.
love that. Can you say that again?
This is not an explanation. It's not an apology.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't owe anything to
Yes,
anybody.
you
We
don't
are,
owe. This is out of the kindness of your heart to also try to just keep the peace, right?
yeah, there is no obligation here. So you know what? You're just going to state what is. Here's what's true about the situation.
Mm.
I got this going on. Da, 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 da. Nope. And beware of the over explaining because I've been guilty of that most of
Yeah.
the majority of my years on this planet. So don't over explain it, but simply state what is true. There's something about truth that sets you free. When you're speaking your truth, it takes the trepidation out of it. It takes
Mm.
like the angst out of it because you're simply speaking what is. So you're speaking your truth about the situation, and then hopefully before the conversation is had, you did do that little self check in to say, is there any reserve there? Is there any room for me? Is there a place where I can say yes? Is there something I can
Yeah,
acquiesce
absolutely.
to? And that's what you offer. And you say, hey, can't do this, can't do that, or whatever. I wouldn't even speak in can'ts. I would speak in, again, what is true for you. Here's my current situation. And then that last soft piece of bread, because the
I
meat,
was
back to
waiting
the
for that end soft piece because I always take Roro's advice on this the soft breads.
end, it's all about the breads and the meats,
And
right?
the note
So
meat inside.
yeah, and then the part where you feel like you can accommodate, you can say, look, that's it, I can do this, but that's all I can offer. That's the best I can do.
Yeah.
That kind of shuts down the entire conversation. I mean, that worked like a charm. Now, are you going to get any pushback maybe later? Is that person who's driven by control, for an example, is going to come back and test it again? Be prepared to stand and then be a broken record sometimes. Stand and then restand in your truth. That's where it can get a little uncomfortable. Again, if you have a propensity to overextend, to overgive, to people please, you're going to be tested. Be
Yeah.
prepared for this, but get really solid on the front end about what you're able to do, what you can't do, and then offer an alternative option wherever possible. Sometimes it's just going to be a solid no, and that's
That's
okay too.
okay. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Listen to
So
last week's episode about giving yourself permission.
yeah, but and search the situation and make an assessment. Figure out if there's any room for meeting in the middle or even on the edge of the corner
Hmm.
somewhere. And if the answer is that's you go out on that high note and then you stand in it. And when they ask again, same answer. Boom. So
Boom diggy.
this recently worked really well for me, actually, and I was pleasantly surprised. But
Well, you gave it the
be
softy
firm.
bread. Softy
But
bread
the
heals
meat,
all.
but the meat nopes in the middle, you got to stand firm on that.
Yeah.
I can't stress that enough. Don't be wishy-washy about it. Don't be apologetic about it. Don't over-explain yourself, but just, find your peace in your truth and, communicate that clearly. And there you go.
I
That's
love
that's worked
that.
really well
And
for me.
I'd like to have an episode where we, AKA pretty much you, because you're the best at it, like literally give some like templates of situations and how to sandwich the conversation, like actual conversation examples. Because really, like applying this, someone might be like, okay, that sounds great, but I don't even know exactly how. So maybe that's something we
True.
also do. And we could even have templates that we could pin them on the Facebook page or something, like kind of so
Yeah.
people can just really get an idea and practice. I mean, it sounds silly, but practicing these conversations, if you're a people pleaser, you may have to do that,
Guys, it's a
a bit of practice.
reprogramming. You
Yeah.
know, we've been doing things a certain way for so long, it's
Mm,
almost like
yeah.
ingrained or tattooed on our soul. But is there room for reprogramming and change? So
Hell
freaking
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Hells
And
yeah.
there's freedom on the other side of that. I can't tell you how freeing it was to like that exercise I just described to you
Yeah.
guys. I just like skipped away from my phone after that.
You're like, look at me, a sandwich with the nope meat, doo doo doo, and they accepted it. Ding.
We need to make a Note Meat song.
Nope meat song. Who's down for
I
it?
think you, I think you just did. So
Yes.
congratulations, that was amazing.
Yes. And so
But
like,
over to you, Christy. I know you've got
yeah.
some words on this. Words of
Yeah, well,
wisdom.
Ron, I mean, obviously with the offering alternatives, I love that the options, it helps them feel like they have some control. Look, I've dealt with like big time narcissists in my life, and at the end of the day, they want control. And if they feel like they have a little bit of it, it helps them feel better. Do you? I was at a point where I didn't even want to give that. Now I don't give a shit. As long as I can have my piece, if I have
Yeah.
to give some options or a little bit of quote control that's really fake control, then I will, right? But I
Mm,
have found too, dealing with narcissists, toxic people. I have found that being consistent and firm, which Rania mentioned, with this type of thing, right? You can't put something out like that, this text, and then the next day they ask and they make you feel guilty and you're like, okay, fine, I'll do it, right? Because when they come to expect that you will cave if they push hard enough, what are they going to
mm.
do, peeps?
Yeah, you're
They are
setting a
going
precedent.
to
Yeah.
keep pushing, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, first, you have to be consistent also in kind of the level of your boundaries, right? So, because if you're having like kind of like, oh, I'll take this much, and then the next week you're like, hell no, and right, so being wishy-washy and just the level of the boundary isn't really conducive because that will just confuse the perpetrator and
Yeah.
make them probably come harder when you are giving a lesser boundary because or a stronger boundary because they know they can push you to a lesser one,
Yeah.
right? Or the other thing is sticking firm. I mean, if you are dictating whatever a boundary, I shouldn't say dictating, that sounds so harsh. But
Well,
if you
you're standing in your truth. I mean, you're
you are,
standing
but
firm.
a
Yeah.
lot of people, if someone's listening that's a super people pleaser, dictating is like a trigger word because they don't want to dictate. So I'm going to soften it. If you are sharing some boundaries, um, and you're not sticking to them, again, it's like children. Same thing with I mean, when you're dealing with toxic people, you're kind of dealing with mentally immature beings, right? So you
Yeah.
do have to kind of treat them in a different way than
Yeah.
rational, healthy minded people. So, yes, if it's like with children, if you say, if you do that again, you're not getting dessert, or if you
Mm,
say, if you do that again, you're not going to your friend's birthday party, don't bite your sister, it's the same thing as if you go back on it, they're gonna be like, look, I can bite my sister, right?
right.
So what? She yelled at me and threatened me, but she didn't actually follow through, right? That
Mm,
being said, this is another major thing. With parenting, we can address this too, and we have parenting episodes coming up. But do not give a boundary you are not going like you're impulsively giving because you're emotional at the time. This is tricky, right? Because
mm,
emotionally, you might be like so upset in the moment, just like with the child, you might be like, you know what? You can't go to the birthday party, which really, like, that's a pretty big punishment, right? So maybe something less, right? Something you
Can't have
actually
dessert. Can't have
fair,
dessert tonight. Whatever.
right?
Yeah.
Can't have dessert seems a little more fair. So it's like something that is fair to the crime and that you know you can hold up to. So let's
Mm.
say this person is being a thorn in your side and you're just so pissed off they really triggered you and you say, I'm never ever going to speak to you again. But deep down, that's not really what you want. You just want them to not talk to you like that. Maybe next time you'll walk out of the room,
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
and we might not be perfect. The first time you might explode and say something, but then you have to have that talk with yourself in the mirror. Um,
Your
where
chat.
yeah, a mirror chat. So then it's like, okay, maybe ahead of time thinking with this specific person, what is my parameters and how far will I actually go? Am I really not ever going to talk to them again? Right? So try to get your emotions under control before creating the boundary.
Yeah.
Um, and even if you do that, you can go back and say, look, I was emotional. It's not that I never want to see you again, but I'm going to tell you right now, the next time that you speak to me in that way, I will remove myself from the conversation. I will hang up the phone. I will walk out of your house. I will, right? So it's coming back saying, look, I see my fault in this. I was over emotional, but right now I'm serious and I'm firm and you hold up with that, right? So you do have to stick to that. And then they know, oh, she's not messing around. She's right because they want to a lot of these toxic people will have grab any chance to call you dramatic or sensitive or emotional because they know they can trigger you there. When you go there, then they're going to try to discredit you and your mind and twist shit
Yes.
on you. Oh, you're crazy or this and that.
Make you second guess yourself. Hmm.
Yes. Yeah. So
So many
even if you get
tactics.
emotional, come on back. Come on back to them and tell them, you know what? I was emotional. I didn't like that I got that way, but it's because I'm not going to tolerate that behavior. So from now on, and you, okay, of course you got to fluff it up, not like me. I'm like, from now on, you do it. I'm fucking out, bitch. No, we got to do the Roro beauty of love over there, sandwich effect, where you go,
Well, everyone's got their style, right? But delivery is important.
yeah, but
Delivery
you
is
can, if you want them to not be on the defensive, you can try to fluff it up a little. Like I would probably say, look, I did get emotional. That already will put them a little less on the defensive. You're admitting your quote part in it, right? So like, I was a little emotional. I am sorry. If you're apologizing, look at that, right? I'm sorry for my part in that. But moving forward, if you do XYZ, I'm gonna have to bow out because I'm not comfortable with that and I don't really have time for that, whatever you want to say. And then close it up with I hope that, a fluffy little love letter at the end of like I hope we are able to have positive, interactions from now on. That's it, you
There's
know?
so many important things about what you just mentioned that I just want to tease out a little bit
Oh,
further.
tease it.
Because look, I mean, when you're teasing your bangs, you gotta go high. So,
Go
so
big or go home.
I love that you pointed out because this is so real, right? This is so realistic. What guys, we're feeling our way through a new behavior, a new way of
Mm,
responding, right? But we're also human. We might have a big reaction to something. And if you're like kind of perfectionistic or you're going into this with anxiety and not knowing exactly how to navigate it, you're going to fumble through it sometimes. But what Christy pointed out is like if you overreact to something, go back, address it, readjust, and then say and do the thing that you meant to do to start with. There's no perfection in any of this. We can
no,
go
we're
back
human
and
beings.
yeah, yeah. And I just love that you took sort of the angst out of it by addressing it in such a realistic way to say, this could happen. And if it does, here's how you can handle it. Like there are ways over these hurdles. And just your entire point of like drawing the boundary very clearly to say, if XYZ, then ABC. And it's not about like blackmailing someone or, ultimatums. It's not even about that. It's just what is. It's like the law of physics, right? You throw a ball up in the air,
Yeah,
it's going to
just
come
the
back
truth.
down.
Back to what you're talking about, the truth.
Yeah.
You're just
Speaking
spitting the truth, the little nope truths.
nope
Nope, true. We
truths.
got a lot of work. We got to get like a glossary we should pin
We're
up and
gonna make
start
a
using
coffee
on our
book,
Facebook page.
coffee table book about
Called
nopisms. Okay.
Nopeisms. Oh my God, I love it.
I I
Well,
love it
yes.
so much.
So this week, I think, let's see. So for our fun work,
Yeah.
is there
Ooh.
something, and maybe not everyone's going to have it this week, but something you could write, you could share with the group on the post. We'll always have a post like related to what we're talking about. Maybe you could write in the past what has worked for you as a boundary, like whether it be, holding on firm or what blew up in your face. Maybe there's something you did and then it didn't work out so well. Like, so we can all learn from each other. And the
Yeah.
fun work for people who maybe are in the midst of something like this. Can you this week either apply the alternative method or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
staying like having a conversation and staying firm in what that is and share, in the group how it went, what you did, whatever you feel comfortable sharing and, you
Yeah.
know, like getting support from other people in the group, from us, we'll cheer you on.
Absolutely.
We're here.
Yeah.
We're
For
here.
sure.
So
For
come
sure.
again, follow our Facebook page, which is always in the link in the description of the podcast. And if you want to email us, it's FierceMamaC, FierceMamaC at Gmail. Just share whatever you would like to. If you have questions you want us to discuss on the podcast, we are going to be
Yes.
having guests after the new year. So if you think maybe you would be someone that would want to be on the Nope-ology podcast, we'll get into more specifics about what we're looking for, but feel free to email us. And of course, there's this guy that we always have to thank at
Oh,
the end of our podcast.
this rando guy.
This
No big
guy
deal.
who
He just
maybe
happened
brought us together.
he just
So,
happened to cultivate this beautiful friendship. So, I mean, we would be remiss. I
we
love
would.
that word
She loves it. She's going to say every time,
every time.
remiss.
Remiss if we didn't say
Thanks,
thanks,
Chief.
Chief. Mwah! We
Watch it.
appreciate you. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
we
for
will.
the union of it all.
Yeah, follow our podcast wherever you are. If you're on Apple, Spotify, wherever, just hit the little follow button. And if you're on YouTube, hit subscribe so you can keep following all the fun here. We record, we will put out every Tuesday, and we are doing this series that's all about family. So if this is resonating, there's more to come. All right.
There's so much more. So much more.
So
No,
much good
no
juice.
nuggets.
So many nope nuggets. Yes, nope nuggies.
Coming your way.
Yes. All right. Deuces, smooches, keep that peace bubble up.
Peace,
Bye.
love, and nopes.
Yes. Bye. Don't forget, if you are looking for a little healing in your life, Christy, that's me, does somatic healing sessions, which are epic. They are over Zoom. You can live anywhere in the world and do them. So I will always have my link in the description box to sign up for a session. And anything we mention, any resources we mention, all of the fun will always be in the description box of wherever you are listening to your podcast platform. We are so grateful for your support. And if you can put a 5-star review, if you are liking what you hear, we would be forever grateful. And that can be done on Apple. You just scroll all the way to the bottom of our main page of the show and click the 5 stars. You can write a little comment if you choose, and we will be so, so grateful. We'll give you the biggest air hugs ever. And if we see you in person, it'll be a tighter squeeze. You'll feel that one. All right. Hope you guys are having the best day. Don't forget, you're a damn queen and king, and keep that chin up.